What's up, guys? This is the Brominator for you. Any of you who watched my last Steel Swarm deck profile, I'm sorry that this video is really late. I had finals last week for my classes, so that kind of delayed me a little bit. Anyways, this deck profile is going to be for my Gravekeepers. It's not that competitive, but it's a very fun build, I think. I think this is the most entertaining deck that I've ever done. But not very competitive, and maybe you'll see why, but hopefully, if you decide to do it, it's as fun for you as it is for me. Alright, enough stalling. Let's get on to the profile. So, I'm going to flip this around. Pretty already calculus map. Alright, first monsters, let's go with the 9 Gravekeepers in this deck build. First, we got Malefic Stardust Dragon. You can't see him because of the glare. Malefic Stardust. He helps protect Necro Valley, and he's also very high attack. Not too hard to get out in this deck if you have him in hand. Hopefully I'll get another soon. 1, 2 tour guides. So if you have any targets, it's just 1 tour guide for the other. That's it. Simple rank 3 XZ to get anything else on the field. Otherwise, it's just going to be Gravekeepers. Now onto the Gravekeepers. First one, Assailant. Assailant's pretty good. He's at 15 normally, 15. But if you have Necro Valley on the field, he gets bumped up to 2,000. And when he attacks a monster, you can change that monster's battle position. But only if Necro Valley is on the field, he gets that effect. 2 Gravekeepers Guard. I really hate this glare right now. Anyways, 2 Gravekeepers Guard. He's at 19 defense, but he's at 24 defense with Necro Valley on the field. And he's basically a compulse, so you can bounce any of your opponent's monsters once he's flipped. 3 Spy, for obvious reasons. Spy, 2,000 defense, 2,500 defense if Necro Valley is on the field, and then when it's flipped, you can special summon any Gravekeeper, pretty much. As long as it's got less than 1,500 attack, which is all of them except for Commandant and Visionary. Speaking of which, next is Visionary. Visionary, he's not used in many decks, but I like using him because you only need 1 tribute to summon him, as long as it's a Gravekeeper tribute. And then he's at 2,000 attack, 2,500 if Necro Valley's on the field, and then he gains another 200 for every Gravekeeper in Grave, which there's automatically going to be 1 in there because you tribute him, unless you go up against Macrocosmos or something like that. And then he has an effect of, if he would be destroyed by any means, you can ditch a Gravekeeper in hand to keep him on the field. So that's pretty decent as well. So he stays on the field, and then he gets the 200 points if you ditch the Gravekeeper from hand. 2 Commandants, or Commandant, whatever, anyway, if somebody wants to pronounce it. Commandant, you can discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. So he's a simple search for Necro Valley. Plus he's got 16 attack. Next, 3 Recruiters. Recruiter, he's only at 12 and 1,500, but when he's destroyed, you can search a Gravekeeper with 1,500 or less defense and add it to your hand. So he goes good with plays off of this guy. Descendant. 3 Descendant. He's at 1,500. he gains the 500 with Necro Valley, and then you contribute one other Gravekeeper to destroy any card on your opponent's side of the field. And basically, if you use Descendants effect to pop a Recruiter, then you get both of their effects. You can destroy something, and then you could search out, say, Commandant, and then use the Commandant to get out Necro Valley. That's the most simple play I do off of that. But those two work together very well. That's it for the monsters. On to spells. 1 Terraforming, because you already got the 2 Commandants. You go through this deck pretty fast, so with all the, you only need 1 in order to get Necro Valleys to your hand. Necro Valleys 3. You want 3 because the attack point boost it gives your monsters, and then it does some graveyard control, like if your opponent's running Chaos or anything, it stops Reborn or anything. It stops stuff that targets grave, so that's good too. A card that I just recently added to this, Royal Tribute. Royal Tribute, if you have Necro Valley on the field, you activate this card. Each player discards all monsters in their hand. So, in other words, Necro Valley's on the field, activate Royal Tribute. Gets rid of all monsters in hand. And basically, when those monsters are in the graveyard, unless they can target by their own effects, they are going to stay there for a while until Necro Valley leaves the field, unless they have their own effects that bring them back. I only run 1 because I think 2 would just be too much. Next spell, Steal. Steal, you can target any 2 Gravekeepers in your grave, add them to hand, and this is not negated by Necro Valley, so this gets around Necro Valley. So your opponent cannot get their monsters back, but you can easily with this card. Next, we have Allure of Darkness. That's because all the monsters in this deck are dark, so lots of targets for this card. Shrink. Shrink for obvious reasons, because these monsters, yeah, they can get the attack point boost from Necro Valley, but they're still not as powerful. So this can help you get around the bigger monsters your opponent controls. Maybe I'll run 2, but for now it's at 1. Duality, you're not going to special summon too often, and if you do, it's not going to be the turn you activate this card. Like, say I do Duality, and I get a Gravekeeper Spy. Well, that Spy is not going to special summon that monster from its flip effect until at least the next turn. At least your next opponent's turn, because you're not going to be able to flip it. So that's helpful in getting certain spells to your hand, or getting monsters if you for some reason don't have any monsters to work with in your hand. And then normal 3, don't gotta describe these. MST, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole. Most of the time I might go with 2 MST instead of a Heavy Storm and MST, but you go, like I said, you go through Necro Valleys really fast, and your opponent wants to get that Necro Valley off the field as fast as they can, because they know what it can do. So Heavy Storm comes in handy. Plus, I sometimes just chain it with this card. I activate my own Heavy Storm if I want to go for a game, and then play Starlight Road. And where's the camera? There it is. Anyways, yeah, Starlight Road, don't really need to explain that. And recently they changed the rule back to its original ruling, which I'm upset about, but I'm not as upset about because I run it in a lot of things, so It's going to help me out a lot in this deck, especially if I want to protect my Necro Valley from heavy storms and whatnot. Rite of Spirit. This is basically Call of the Haunted for Gravekeepers. Activate it. Special summon a Gravekeeper from your graveyard, and this card cannot be negated by Necro Valley. So that's helpful in getting things back onto your field. I've even once let's get these cards out. I've even once used Descendant, Recruiter, popped my recruiter. Jesus, stupid laptop. Popped my own Recruiter with Descendant, activate his effect, then used Rite of Spirit, get that Recruiter right back, and then pop it again. So I get to destroy 2 things and I get 2 searches. Very trolly, but what are you gonna do? Let's see. Anyway, moving on. This is going longer than I thought it would. Next we have Torrential Tribute. Destroys all monsters. Everybody really knows that. And then plus, if you use that and you have Recruiter on your field, that play still goes off. 1, 2 bottomless trap hole. Bottomless, basically get rid of those big monsters that you have to face on your opponent's side of the field. You don't want to go up against huge monsters with this deck, because this can control the field a little bit, but if they have power over you, you're gonna lose really fast. So you want to control the field with back row and your monsters. 2 Dimensional Prisons. Basically just still protecting monsters. Everybody knows what that does. Mirror Force, doesn't need explanation. And 2 Compulse. Basically, if you're going up against XZs or Synchros, you can pop those back to the extra deck. Now, this deck, with the Tour Guides, you'll XZ, but anything else, you're not really gonna go into 4s or whatnot, but it's situational. So all these cards are really situational except for the rank 3s. So we're going to go over those real quick. For the first set of rank 3s, I have the Jins. Mesorhythm, the String Jin, Tempo, and Mellow Melody. For the rank 3s, with Tour Guide, another rank 3, Giga Brilliant, that can give some of your monsters an attack point boost. And then Acid Golem for that 3000 beater if you need to go over anything. Rank 4s, like I said, you're not going to really go into these a lot, but I'm going to show you what I would run anyways. We got Gem Knight Pearl, just 2600. 2 Utopias. Photon Papillon Operative. Maystroke. Symphony Jin. Steel Swarm Roach. This is what I'd normally go to if I really think I have to against a certain deck. I will go with Steel Swarm Roach to prevent them from summoning huge level 5 or highers. Gaga Cowboy, normally for the 800 effect where it's in defense, 800 direct damage, pew pew, all that nonsense. Stardust Dragon because of Starlight Road and Malefic Stardust. And just because I have Malefic Stardust, and Visionary, just in case if I ever have the opportunity, Heretic Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis. He's got 3,000 attack, and then his defense or his effect is popping cards. And that's my Steel Swarms, or not my Steel Swarms. Oh my God, my Gravekeepers. So comment, subscribe to my page if you like it. Comment any suggestions that you might have, and I'll get back to you guys with another deck profile and what I think about your comments and stuff. So yeah, Brominator signing out.